Good morning, 11:35, June 29th. This is a special meeting of the Griggs County Commission. Will you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have some people attending by Zoom and by phone, so bear with us here. We'll take roll call. Avriel.
Here.
Tranby.
Here.
Zorn. Rod Zorn, you're present. Hello, Rod, are you present?
Hi again. Oh well. Technology's great when it works.
Edland.
Here.
Rod Zorn.
Yes, I'm present. I'm sorry.
Rod is present and Wakefield is present. Have a look at the agenda. Very limited, of course. And then we'll need a motion approving the agenda when ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda by Tranby. Could I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Agenda approved. Okay, so we had some mix-up yesterday in how the meeting was run, so we're going to have to go back to old school and run this the way it's supposed to be. So just a basic rundown on how this works. The agenda is set forward. It's sent out to everybody. Then as we move into the meeting, the process is supposed to be, but we have tightened it up some, but the process is supposed to be, we need the chair will call for discussion on an agenda item. Mm-hmm. We lumped it together with the judge.
Yeah.
So we'll call for discussion on an agenda item that will require a motion and a second.
And after a second one, then you can discuss.
Then we can discuss
Correct.
it. Then after we're into this topic, then we will call for a vote, because let's just say we have county budget on the agenda item, and when we move into it for the discussion, we don't know what we're going to vote on. Mm-hmm. So the motion once we're into the discussion, the motion will be we approve the county budget, we don't approve the county budget, we amended it. So we're going to take one more step here. And then the other thing that we're getting ahead of ourselves is calling out motions before we're to that point in the meeting. We have an agenda set forward here. We have to discuss the items, and then the chair will call for a vote or call for moving on to the next agenda item. That's the way that we're going to have to run this and make it more legible for the people that are listening to this thing. So with that, anybody have any questions on how we're going to do this? No, that's pretty straightforward. Oh, one other thing. This is not run like a city council where the mayor only votes on a tiebreaker and the mayor doesn't participate in the meetings other than the mayor runs the meeting. In the commission, each member has all the rights of another member. So theoretically, the chairman can make a motion and can second the motion. So yesterday that wouldn't have done any good. It was obvious it was 2-2. It wasn't going to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. So in the whole process of an agenda item, it'll probably be, rather than the chairman call for a motion for moving the agenda item discussion, I could just make the motion. The motion to move the agenda item to discussion. It'll take a second in order to go there. And remember, nothing makes any difference until the vote. The vote is what counts. Mm-hmm. The reason, the reason we need to have two people move the agenda item for discussion is because the chairman has the ability to put an agenda item on with only his decision. So there has to be a way that if the rest of the commission doesn't want to discuss that agenda item, they don't have to. And agenda items that are added by the vote at the end of the last meeting by the vote of the three commissioners really wouldn't need to be moved into the discussion stage because they already theoretically have been. But we'll do it all the same as we go forward here. So with that, we have the agenda approved, of course. We have the commission proceedings. That was just nothing to be voted on there. And now we'll move into the state tax department letter. And I'll need a motion in order to open the discussion in the state tax department letter.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Zorn. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second it.
Second by Avriel. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. I'll turn it over to the state's attorney. He wrote the letter. But keep in mind of what happened yesterday. We'd already voted to send the letter.
Yeah.
We'd voted 4-1 to send the letter. There was no, what happened yesterday was a waste of all our time, and it was a waste of taxpayer dollars. Now, that shouldn't have happened. We'd already voted to send the letter. If you wanted to talk about the contents of the letter, what should have happened is you should have made the motion and seconded it, and that would have prompted a discussion. The way it went, everybody's hands were tied. We wasted a trip, we wasted money, and here we are again. So, I'll turn it over to Jamie, and he can explain where we stand on this.
So I drafted the letter. I made some changes this morning based on actually a section of code that I read yesterday. So I guess the letter stands for itself. The Griggs County Commission has been holding a county equalization meeting. During the equalization meeting, it came to the attention of the commissioners that a person who's not qualified due to sales ratio study did the study. In addition, the Griggs County Commission did not approve the sales ratio study and has since been made aware that there may be errors in the work causing inaccuracies in the information that was uploaded to your office. The Griggs County Commission believes that we do not have the expertise to complete the sales ratio study. The Griggs County Commission is requesting that the Office of the North Dakota State Tax Commissioner perform the sales ratio study on its behalf. The Griggs County Commission realizes that we must meet deadlines in order to ensure that we complete the taxation process in a timely manner. And due to the potential error in the sales ratio study, Griggs County requests a chance to resubmit the county's sales ratio study. Respectfully, John Wakefield, Chair of Griggs County Commission. So I guess the letter stands for itself. I would ask that it doesn't have the letterhead on it, of course, and I would ask that would not be signed, the letterhead be put on it. But I guess you guys go ahead and can discuss it.
Yep. So, any discussion on the letter itself?
Yes, I do have concerns on the letter itself. The sentence that states that during the meeting it came to their attention of the commissioners or the person who is unqualified to do the sales ratio did the study. It didn't come to your attention, it wasn't a surprise. The wording there makes it sound as if it was a surprise. I was voted 2 years ago to complete the study, so this will be my third year completing the study. Second of all, it's actually the form that I'm completing isn't the actual sales ratio study, as I was trying to explain yesterday. It's called the Schedule BS. That is the form that was submitted. There are 2 other forms that partake in the sales ratio, and those can be completed and submitted in, which should be done, but it's due by tomorrow. Those have different information in than what's on the BX form. The second part that I have a question on is, asking the state tax to perform our sales ratio on our behalf. I mean, how did that go in 2017 when that was asked? That's kind of a silly question, I think, or request to have them do it when back in 2017 they wouldn't do it for us either. And That was my only concern, was it's not, the question that you guys are discussing, or in this letter that you guys would want to talk about, is the Schedule BS. The other two forms for the sales ratio has not been submitted, but it's due by tomorrow, which does not have the same information in it as the Schedule BS. And there's no reason why that shouldn't be completed.
So this is all part of the sales ratio study, of the different forms that are to be submitted. We tried to have you walk us through that so that we could have a look at it and make a decision on as a group. That didn't take place, of course, and so this is where we're at. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask the state tax department to do the sales ratio study or allow us to participate when they do it. Obviously, we need somebody that is qualified to do it. This is of grave concern to the citizens. This is going to cost them potentially a lot of money. It's going to affect their way of life. And we owe it to the people we represent to make every effort to try to minimize the effect of this. So here we
My
are.
question is,
So here we are, and this seems to be the logical position to reach out to the state as a group, as a commission, and start the conversation. There's always been the question on who is responsible for the sales ratio study. That's never been answered to my satisfaction. Via a regulation, it's always been, well, the state mandates that we do it. We don't know exactly how that works. I still haven't got a firm grip on the Century Code or any other code that allows that. So this is the best scenario that we have considering the situation we're in. No doubt we shouldn't have been in this situation, but we are. So we
I would like to change the wording in that to where it says that it reads as though it came to your attention as if the commissioner did not know that who completed it. When in all actuality, there was a motion for me to complete it. So the commissioner was very well aware that I completed it. I think that should be stricken out of there.
Well, I don't think that needs to be stricken out. We could probably add the caveat that the person who was unqualified to do the sales ratio study submitted the study without the permission of the commission. But but the fact that this was submitted without approval of the 5 commissioners is really the problem we have here. We are to represent the taxpayers within our districts. We need to make sure that what we submitted, or was submitted, is actually going to be correct and minimize any effect that it might have on the citizens. Without us having the ability to scrutinize that was taken away from us. So theoretically, Griggs County hasn't submitted a sales ratio study because we didn't have, the person who submitted it didn't have the authority to do so. That's really where we stand.
Actually, John, the same process of me submitting to get that information is the exact same as Leslie Sound does it. There was no difference. There is no 2 steps in it. It is the exact same process.
Was the sales ratio study approved by the commission?
I don't understand your question because it was submitted the same way. How do you think you get your numbers?
Was the sales ratio study approved by the commission? Is there a record of a voice vote approving the sales ratio study be sent to the state?
Is there a record of the years past, John, where the sales ratio from 2021 and 2022 were approved prior to submitting?
I believe there is. I believe there is. If there wasn't, it was an error, and there's no sense in continuing the error. So this is where we stand. There's not any chance that we can justify sending in a sales ratio study that the other 4 commissioners did not have a chance to scrutinize in a public, open meeting. We are not supposed to do things behind the back of the people we represent. Represent means just that. There's no way that we can finagle or mince words or do anything else. This was sent in when it shouldn't have been because it wasn't done with the approval of the commission. Nothing can be done by an individual when it concerns business of the citizens. It has to be done by approval of a majority of the commission.
So I probably should read a section of code, 5712 1.1. Prior to the annual meeting of the County Board of Equalization, the Board of County Commissioners of each county within a state shall provide for spot checks upon property. And then it doesn't specifically say sale ratio study, but I think that's what they're talking is a sale ratio study. Shall provide for spot checks upon property within each county to properly verify the accuracy of real property listings and valuations. The spot checks must be reviewed by the county boards of equalization at their annual meeting in June, and such boards shall make necessary corrections on the property assessment listings and valuations. Such changes in assessments must be made in accordance with the provisions of this chapter. So in my opinion, the county needs to review it and okay it before it is sent off.
Seems pretty straightforward to me that.
There is probably one change that I should make in that letter after reading it and listening to some discussion. Maybe instead of in the second paragraph in the second sentence, the Griggs County Commission is requesting that the Office of the North Dakota State Tax Commissioner perform the sales ratio study on its behalf. Maybe we should add something instead of perform the sales ratio study on its behalf, that the Office of the North Dakota Tax Commissioner assist Griggs County in performing the sales ratio study.
The Griggs County Commission is requesting that the Office of the North Dakota Tax Commissioner assist Griggs County in performing a sales ratio study.
Yeah.
And delete on its behalf.
Yeah. I guess I have one other comment about what's going on. I spoke with Aaron Burst yesterday. I was actually on a county tour with him and the Association of Counties, so had an opportunity to speak with him about this. There's potentially another error other than the ones that Steph may be aware of. And I haven't done any extra research to verify this, but according to Aaron, there's only 3 classifications of property: residential, commercial, and ag land. So anything that has to do with lakeshore property or shoreline property, whatever it was classified as, I don't know how to handle that other than it should be residential property, if it's residential property.
That originally.
It does get moved into residential in the end, you are correct on that.
That originally came from the software that the company of Iowa used when they evaluated Red Willow in 2011. Minnesota and I think Iowa both have a category of lakeshore property. So that's where, but it was never assessed as that. It's always been assessed as residential. And if you look back at the over the years of sales ratio studies and the return recommendations from the state, it is never ever singled out residential or lakeshore property. The other thing
It is still,
the other thing that was misquoted in a number of the meetings is that properties haven't been assessed in many, many years. That is a total inaccuracy. Every residential property every year is either raised or lowered. And that affects every property in the county. So I said raised or lowered, theoretically lowered, they never have been. So every year, every property in Griggs County by statute, by law, residential, commercial, and agricultural, is either raised or lowered. So the argument that we have to do something about this is because these properties haven't been assessed in years is completely a bogus argument. Every year, every one of them are done. That's the purpose. That is the purpose of the sales ratio study. An assessment is to equalize. It doesn't matter if you equalize them at a real low number or a real high number. It makes them equal so that when you raise one a percentage, it raises the other percentage. And the two newest assessments that have been done, most of the county's been done in 2011. Cooperstown was done, excuse me, and Red Willow was done, which takes in the majority of the residential properties, other than the properties in the country and Binford and Hannaford. So there's where we stand. Any more discussion?
I have one little thing.
Yep.
During this equalization meeting, it came to the attention of the commissioners that a person who is unqualified to do the sales tax ratio did a study. I have a problem with that. Sorry.
Are you qualified to do the study, Steph?
no,
Very good. Thank you. Still got a problem with that?
I do. Sorry. Just she did the best she could. So. I'm
You
sorry.
had a problem with that statement. Is that statement false?
No, it's not. but-
Thank you.
Okay, whatever.
Josh, Rod, anything to add?
I'm good.
You still there, Rod?
Yep.
Okay, you got an alarm went off.
So where do we now? Did we make a motion to push this forward to send it off then?
Well, there was a motion made, and then there was, I think there should probably be either the motion needs to either be rescinded or amended to reflect that change. If you guys want to go forward with that
Yep.
change, that
I just have a motion to open up for discussion.
Right.
Okay.
So when we're sure that what the discussion is done, then we'll call for a motion to accept the letter as amended. So if we have no more discussion, we would entertain a motion to accept the letter as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Zorn to accept the letter to the State Tax Commissioner as amended. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Averill. This will be a roll, excuse me, this will be a roll call vote. Averill,
Aye.
Tranby,
No.
Zorn,
Aye.
Edlund,
no.
Wakefield votes aye. Motion passed. That concludes our business. I could have a motion to
I'll do that.
adjourn. Motion by Tranby to adjourn. Do I have a second?
second.
Second by Zorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned, 12:03. Next regular meeting is, what's the date on that, Sam?
The 6th.
Is July 6th, 2:30, this chambers. Thank you.
Thank you.